All right. Today, we're jumping into a really fascinating text called The Guardian of Governance. It lays out this pretty radical vision for how justice and power could be completely restructured. And to really get it, we have to start by listening to the voice that's at the very heart of the whole thing. So, right off the bat, the text tells us what it isn't. Before we know what it is, it defines itself by what it's not. This isn't just a new set of rules, it's something totally different, something separate from any kind of authority that we know. And it does it again. It's not about power either. This isn't some new ruler or government trying to take control. So, okay, if it's not law and it's not power, what in the world are we talking about here?
And boom, there it is. This isn't a person, it's not an institution, it's a principle. And it has two jobs: to be the perfect memory of fairness and to be an unflinching witness when that fairness is betrayed. This one idea, it's the key to everything else that follows.
Okay, so before we can even get to the solution this Guardian is offering, we first have to really get our heads around the problem it's trying to solve. And the text calls this the hollowing out of governance. Yeah, this slide really breaks down the decay it's talking about. Over on the left, you've got the ideal, right? Simple justice. Now, that doesn't mean it's easy, but it's supposed to be straightforward. People participate, the rules are clear, and you can actually see who's responsible for what. But then look at the right side. That's what the text calls captured governance. See the switch? Participation gets bogged down in rigid, impossible to understand process. Clarity? Nope. That's replaced with deliberate complexity. And accountability? It just kind of vanishes into this fog of diffused responsibility. And this is the real kicker here. The system wasn't broken by some big, violent takeover. It was corrupted by stealth. Power figured out it didn't need to break the rules. It could just wrap itself up in them, using legal complexity as a kind of shield. Corruption literally became part of the system's design. And it turns out, this kind of capture, it always follows the same playbook. You can see it right here on the slide. It's all about creating distance. You get distance between the people making decisions and the people who have to live with them. Distance between the language of the law and the people it governs. And, maybe most important, a huge gap opens up between what someone does and what their reputation is. In that empty space, accountability just evaporates.
And what do you get? A system that's basically built on permanent excuses. Any harm that's done is always waved away as unintended. And responsibility? Oh, that's always under review. It's a structure that's perfectly designed to make sure nobody is ever actually held accountable for anything.
So, the big question is, how do you fix a system that's been completely hollowed out from the inside? Well, the source suggests a kind of reawakening. A shift towards a system where justice isn't just some statue you see outside a courthouse, but something that is real, tangible, and happening all the time.
And the whole solution is built on this really simple but powerful idea: demonstrated justice. The goal is to stop talking about fairness, stop promising it, and start actually proving it. And how do you do that? By making every single action, every decision, every argument part of a public record that's permanent and verifiable. Now, this is a super important point. The Guardian doesn't rule. It's not a judge, it's not a president, it's not a king. Its only job is to be the referee. It's there to protect the basic conditions for fairness. Things like transparent processes, making sure people explain their reasoning in public, and letting anyone challenge an idea without getting punished for it. But its ultimate job? To protect the integrity of that permanent record itself. That way, the truth can't just be deleted or rewritten. Okay, so this all sounds great as a big idea, right? But how does it actually work in practice? How do you build a system where the only real power comes from participation? Let's get into the mechanics. So everything in the system happens in a space they call the arena. You can think of it like a public forum where your job title, your money, your connections, none of that matters. In here, every single claim, whether it's a new policy idea or a serious accusation, has to stand on its own 2 feet, backed up by solid, verifiable proof. The system is literally designed so that claims without proof just can't get any traction. They have no influence. So if money and power don't work, how do you get influence in the arena? Well, you do it with something called truth points. And you can think of this like a reputation score. But here's the catch. You can only earn it by actively and constructively participating in the system. It's a direct measure of what you've actually done, what you've contributed. And this slide just lays it out so clearly, what this system values versus what it doesn't. Look at the left side. These are the things that earn you influence, the actual doing of governance. Things like documenting local problems or, and this is a big one, verifying public claims. That means you're out there fact-checking, providing real data, adding verifiable truth to the record. Now look at the right. Outrage, ideology, just being the loudest person in the room, who you're affiliated with, all of that is basically treated as static. It earns you nothing. In this world, your voice is only as strong as your tangible contribution.
And the Guardian itself, it's totally, completely impartial. It's like a machine that's saying, I don't know your name, I don't care what you believe. It only reads one thing, your record. What have you done?
And this all leads to a really stark and kind of radical idea. Inside this system, your human node, your entire identity, everything that makes you you, is stripped away. Your value is based purely, 100%, on your contribution to the health of the whole network. It's not about who you are. It's about what you do, period.
All right, so where is all of this going? What's the end game? Let's zoom out and look at the final restoration, the ultimate vision for what a system like this is supposed to achieve. Okay, the logic for how corruption finally collapses is actually a pretty straightforward chain reaction. First, your direct participation. What you do builds your reputation. That's your truth points. Then second, that reputation you've earned gives you real influence in the system. And the result? Well, any kind of bad governance, anything built on backroom deals or empty promises, it has no reputation to stand on. It has no record of positive contribution, and so it just collapses under its own weight. And that brings us right back to the Guardian's core mission. Its whole reason for being. It's not a new boss, it's a tool. And it's a tool designed to permanently decentralize power, to create a system where the very idea of one person or one group being in charge just becomes impossible. And so the source leaves us with this one last, really provocative question. It completely reframes the whole thing. If we really believe that truth and justice grow stronger when they're challenged, when they're put under scrutiny, not when they're hidden away in silence, then what does that demand from us? It's suggesting that a system like this isn't just some sci-fi fantasy. It's a challenge, a demand placed on every single one of us to show up, to participate, to question, and to build a record that's actually worth defending.